Hi everyone, today we're talking about Boeing and Boeing stock. As you know, on this channel I kind of talk about investments that I would make and kind of stocks that I just recommend for other people to be purchasing. At this moment in time, as you know, as always, don't always just buy a stock because I recommend it. Make sure you look into it and you're happy to invest, and then if the stock ever has a rough day, you have that confidence in it not to sell because you trust it that much. Something really important to have. So as always, just don't buy a stock because of my opinion. But I was thinking the other day, I always like to plan ahead, and I always want to have a stock that I'm ready to jump into if the money came free. As you know, at the moment I don't really have the money spare at the moment to be investing in some stocks, unless the stock that I'm currently invested in sells. So out of them all, Adobe's a bit closer to selling than Microsoft. So if that sells, then obviously that leaves a buying opportunity. And what kind of stock would I invest in the future to replace that stock? Adobe and Microsoft are two stocks that I really like, and that's why I invested in them. Adobe's, like I say, is quicker to sell in, so that would be probably the one that gets replaced if it had a good price increase. But if them stocks did meet its price target that I have set for them, which you can see in other videos, which stock would I go into next? Now, I think this stock, there was one that came pretty close to it, but this stock here is the actual monster that's just sleeping at the moment. And I think Boeing is easily the stock at the moment that appeals to me at the right price for what it's worth. Obviously the stocks are like more than this, but obviously they're higher priced. So like, for example, Apple I would prefer to be investing in Boeing, but the price it's in, it's a bit overvalued from the jump that it's had. Obviously if Apple had a dip, then I'd probably get back into it. But Boeing is a very good stock. There's one stock behind it, which I would say PayPal is a very good stock, which is a little bit behind it for me. And a little bit ahead of it, Ferrari would have been a stock that I would have put on this list before Boeing. But Ferrari has had a bit of a jump. I think it's had a 15% increase in the last week, so I'm just a week late doing this video. But yeah, Ferrari was a really good company. It was so undervalued, but obviously now it's jumped to, like, it was at 130, it's now gone to like 140, something on them lines, or even 145. A nice big increase, would have made a lot of money on that one. And now Ferrari, I would say slightly overvalued, so I'd be selling Ferrari now. But Boeing kind of just hasn't had the momentum at all yet. It's been sitting around the like 330s for a long time. It's now slightly increased to 340 with the kind of good days that we've had. But it's still massively undervalued at 340, I feel. It's been higher already this year. You can see the PE at 22, as well as paying a dividend, which I haven't put on here. Boeing does pay a dividend. A little bit more expensive stock, like, but it does pay a dividend. PE at 22 shows you that it's a pretty decent price to earnings ratio right now. I've got to say that the Boeing's PE was 42 earlier this year, so you kind of see how much that's undervalued right now. 22 is an absolute steal for Boeing. The target, I always like putting kind of like a third person's viewing, so it's not just mine all the time. The analyst targets on this is 401. Personally, I think it's a little bit lower than 401. I wouldn't put that much on it, but half of the earnings that Boeing did pull out, they were exceptional. The forecasts for the rest of the year are good. We've also had Boeing have bought a new factory, meaning they can now place a plane order out quicker. There's always a waiting list for Boeing aeroplanes, and now they've got a new factory, obviously they can get through that waiting list quicker, making more money. It might be tempting for other people to say, oh, if we go to Boeing rather than Airbus, even though they can do them quicker, they're better quality planes, so we can get more work through that way. So that obviously is a good thing. Yeah, but target, I mean, some people even have this target. I think the highest analyst has it around 450 right now, something along them lines, which I was like, whoa, it's a bit crazy that. I think the lowest target is about 350-ish, so it's still above where it's at. But I think they just haven't got around to updating it because of the earnings that have come out. EPS is really good, it's 16%, it's a double-digit growth. So that's something to be pretty chuffed about. The sales have been increasing quite a bit. as well as the profit they've been making. I mean, it's not exceptional at 5.5%, but it obviously, if they have a new factory, then we might see that jump in the future. Obviously, the biggest threat to Boeing right now is kind of like going forward in the future. Obviously, at some point they're going to have to be dealing with electric planes, but I don't think that's for a good, at least another 5 years before we even consider that kind of sort of thing right now. Obviously, that's something if you're going to go extreme long term, like we're talking retirement plan, then that would be something that I'd consider about Boeing putting into a retirement portfolio, especially at the age that I'm at 23. You know, retirement for me is what, 40, 45 years away. So if I was going to keep this long term, do we see Boeing exactly keep the business model it has in 40, 45 years long term? No, it'll have to change at some point. Obviously we'll have the electric printers as well that will play a big part into the planes, but yeah, obviously we'd have a lot of changes in the long term, so that might be something you consider about. But definitely for the next 5 years, it's a good stock to be holding, more than likely, unless something seriously bad happens. But yeah, I think this stock is just totally undervalued right now. Like I say, it would have been Ferrari, but it had a big jump. PayPal for me is still a good company to be invested in. That's very undervalued, especially after the earnings it pulled out and some of the forecasts it's given out. Pretty decent undervalued company, but Boeing just slightly edges it for me just because of the PE, dividend it pays, the forecasts for it. Really good company. So hopefully at some point, I'm hoping Adobe gets where it needs to be, and then I can sell them shares, and then with the money that I make from Adobe, some of it would, I'd transfer some of it out to my bank account, and some of it would go back into Boeing. So hopefully that happens sometime soon. We'll see what happens. That's the video for today, guys. Like I say, make sure it's your decision if you do invest in it, not just take my word for it. Give the video a like. Next videos, I've got an advice video, and then I've got two the Mastercard and Visa versus video. I've got one of them coming out, but it's obviously two videos of different companies, so 4 companies altogether, 2 battles, which is a better stock in my opinion. So that's coming up. So guys, give the video a like. Thanks for all the subscribers recently, and I'll see you on the next video.